All right. Hey,
Hey.
welcome everyone to our very first weekly sync for TCL-65. Yeah, everyone, hands in the air. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yay. Okay, cool. Um, super excited about this. Today we're going to start things off with a round of intros. Then we're going to have a learning module around Git that I'm going to attempt to do. We'll see. Git's also one of those things like CSS that's very scary. And we're gonna go over issues, like what the issues are for the upcoming week, and then we're going to make sure everyone is able to create branches and all of that good stuff. And then we'll talk kind of some logistic stuff. Does that sound good? And did I miss anything there? Anyone from any of my co-mentors? Yeah. No?
You're
Okay.
good.
Cool. All right. And Shannon, I really like the lots of
The
reaction.
emoji use,
Or,
yeah.
yeah. Cool. So I'll start it off. For intros, let's do name, where you are, maybe why you like coding, and something you like to do for fun. Yeah. Cool. All right. So my name is Mike Lambert. I am a mentor here, and this is my fifth group. And I'm in Portland, Oregon, uh, and a software engineer for Zapier, which is super awesome company. I like coding because it allows me to be really creative in a way that I found surprising. I never thought of myself as a creative person. And it also tickles a fun part of my brain that I like. And for fun, I've in the last couple of years gotten really into to Thai boxing, Muay Thai. So I like doing that for fun. And we're gonna popcorn these over to people. So I'm gonna popcorn it to Patty.
Hi, thank you. My name is Patty. Can you hear me okay?
You're good.
Yeah. Okay. I live in Portland, but I'm in Tacoma right now. We're escaping the heat wave that is happening. I have a similar answer to why I like coding. I like that it's like both really logical and really creative. I feel like, ever since I was a kid, I like you take those like right brain, left brain tests, like all those different personality tests. I always felt like I was like in the middle of both, not like more one or the other. And something that I like to do is me and my toddler and my partner, we go to the beach by our house a lot. So we do a lot of like toddler beach hangouts, and I really love it. I'll pass it to Shannon.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Shannon. I live on Long Island in New York. I grew up in California, Newport Beach, California. I was born in Southampton, New York, so my influences are East Coast and West Coast. I love writing code because it took me a long time. I'm literally 52 years old on Monday, but like a year and a half ago, I realized that my life experience, like I've been a production manager and I was a photographer for Ron Delsner, and I've always been like kind of like in the middle of art and tech, doing lots of tech stuff. Thank you. And my daughter decided one day that she's going to go be a software engineer, and I was like, okay, that sounds cool. And then I watched her do that and I was like, dude, I definitely need to do this. Like, this is the perfect place to combine all of my creative art love and my desire to just be involved in tech constantly. So that's how I wound up writing code and being a developer. What do I like to do? I definitely love to drink coffee. I am diehard for the loudest music you can possibly ever have. Like, forget about it. If it's not making my ears bleed, I don't even want to be part of it. I like to go to concerts. I like hanging out with my friends. I love the beach. Yeah, that's me. Popcorning to, is it Isaiah? Am I saying your name right, Isaiah?
Yeah, it's Isaiah.
Right on.
Sweet. Thanks. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, my name is Isaiah. I'm from the Los Angeles area. And yeah, the reason I got into coding is, I guess similar to you guys. I just kind of, I fell in love with just like I guess, logical and reasoning and behind everything. And I just enjoy like those moments when you're just kind of working on, a problem to something or to some app, and you really flexes like a certain part of your brain, like Mike said. And yeah, and I like just turning nothing into something cool. And for fun, one thing that I would like to do, that I do like to do, I like to do a lot of like outdoorsy things. So camping, I like going to the beach, and I like playing sports, all that, and watching as well. So yeah, just very much go outside when I'm not coding. Oh, and then I guess I would pass it to Matthew.
Cool. Hey, I'm Matt or Matthew, either's fine. I live in Olympia, Washington. I just moved up here about 2 to 3 months ago. Originally from Northern California, but I've lived in a lot of different places: New Orleans, South Carolina, England. So finally settling. um, let's see. I always blank on the questions. Why I love coding. I got into coding a few years ago. I spent about a decade in hospitality. And at my last job, they asked me if I wanted to like kind of help with the website. It was kind of like WordPress, just basically filling in content. And I noticed that that hour or two that I would spend on that it would just fly by, and it was like my favorite time. And I was like, oh, I think there's something here. And so similar to, it sounds like a lot of people that kind of scratched my like logistical problem solving itch. I always like doing like the jumbles in the paper and stuff like that. And so very much that. And then the creative side, my family all does like contracting, and I didn't really get that gene. I'm not as much of a builder, so it's like my way of building is building apps and stuff. So yeah, I love that part of it, and it's definitely great to very happy with the decision that I made back then. Things I like to do. I also have a toddler. She's about 19 months now. So really a lot of the stuff is now focused on what she likes to do. So we try to blend them. So we like going to the parks and on hikes and going to museums and things like that. And yeah, camping and traveling is something I love to do. I haven't done as much recently, but very, very big traveler. I think I've gone to about 40 plus countries. So one day I'll get back to those. And yeah, I think that's it. Just happy to be here. And then let's see, Nicole, I'll go to you.
Hi, I'm Nicole. This is my second time mentoring for Collab Lab. Patty, you and I have a friend in common. I actually did Collab Lab with your friend Louie. So 2 times ago, and then I mentored last time around, and this is my second time doing it. My day job right now, I am working for a company called Chrysalis. Chrysalis is like a Y Combinator. They work with different startup companies. Specifically, I work for their sub company called Cova. I'm a full stack developer there, and we're like a marijuana point of sale system. I love coding, not because I actually like coding. I kind of hate coding. I like coding because I like changing people's lives. I started this working with a whole bunch of women who were all in the sex industry. They were all prostitutes. I should note, I'm in Vancouver, Canada. It is legal in Canada here. I was running a really big co-op of sex workers, about 700 or so, biggest in the world. And something that kept killing our members was that they were on the streets. And something that changes people being on the streets is if they have a digital presence, which requires WordPress and PHP, which requires a huge headache for me learning WordPress. And I got really, really into that, using digital products to change people's lives. I started a company, taught myself how to code online for free, started a company, hired a few developers. Now we write marketing software, and I work with this combinator, helping other small businesses with a focus on women and marginalized people start their companies. And I love Collab Lab because it's the first time I've been able to come in and say, I don't know what I'm doing. I taught myself online. Can you help me? Was huge. And be honest about my background and be perfectly accepted. So I will be here until the end of time. That leaves Lydia, last but not least. I can't wait to hear your story.
Okay. Hi. I'm Lydia. I'm in Seattle or the Seattle area. I'm outside Seattle. And I got into coding pretty early and then kind of got out of it. Like my dad was a software engineer. He just retired. So my entire life I've been exposed to software engineering because he'd come home and complain. And he'd complain about like coding problems and like business problems. It's like, oh, I could kind of know what's going on. Like not really, but kind of. And my favorite thing about coding is that you can get everything wrong all of the time and fix it. I really like that about the process of figuring out software problems. And for fun, gaming and spending time with my kid outdoors. He's 10 recently. He's gotten somehow I started having like pool noodle fights with him, like using them like swords. And so that's been a big part of my life lately. Just running around outside hitting each other with pool noodles. It's weird.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, what do you like to do for fun? Hit my son with pool noodle. Yay. That sounds really fun. And I'm envisioning a really wonderful sunny afternoon doing that. Oh yeah, LARPing. Totally called LARPing. Cool. Well, great to meet everyone. Like I said before, super excited. So let's jump in now to our learning module for the week, which is on everyone's favorite topic, Git. So I'm going to share my screen here. Can you all see it? Yeah? Okay, cool. Hang on, let me just do slideshow here. All right, so we're going to chat a little bit about Git. If you're anything like me, Git is a very intimidating thing. And so it's super, super okay if you don't like feel comfortable with Git, because not many people do. And it takes a really long time to feel like quote unquote comfortable. So today, what we're going to be covering really is like what we need from Git at the Collab Lab. And honestly, this is like 99% of what you need from Git in general. My feelings around Git are it's kind of like avalanche training, right? Which is that if you're doing avalanche training, you're like more likely to get into an avalanche. In similar way as like advanced Git things, if you're sitting there like training yourself on like really, really crazy advanced Git stuff, you're probably more likely to get into trouble. So my feelings are like these basics are the majority of what you'll actually need. And if you find yourself getting out of these basics, you may want to like question, be like, whoa, hold on. I may be getting into trouble here. So we're going to talk about Git checkout, which is creating and switching branches, how to stage changes, saving changes with Git commit, sending changes to GitHub with Git push, getting the latest changes with Git pull, and getting those changes into main. At any point, if you have any questions or anything, just feel free to unmute or throw them in the chat. And I'll try to like check the chat occasionally. Cool. Yeah, so we're not talking about rebasing. Yeah, rebasing's a little wild. Okay, so a few Git terms that were like on the same page. A repository is a collection of files that uses source control like Git. Remote, when we talk about remote, we'll usually say like the remote branch or the remote repository. That's also called the origin repo. which is a somewhere online, not on your local computer. Next thing is a branch, which is a working copy of the repo. And the main branch is the like super important source of truth for everything. And we'll be creating feature branches, which are branches that go off of main and then eventually back into main, which we have a fancy diagram to show that in a second. So a commit is a set of changes to the repo, and you may see head, which refers to the last commit. A pull request is a way that you document the how and why of the changes. And we'll take a look a little bit at like what creating a pull request looks like. And pull request is a term specific to GitHub. You may see things like merge requests. So GitLab, which my company uses, calls everything merge requests. And the shortened form of pull request is a PR. Shortened form of merge request is an MR. So those are kind of interchangeable. Okay, so here we've got a diagram showing two branches, right? So at the top, this is like the main branch, right? And here we're creating a new feature branch, right? And then let's imagine on that feature branch that you go ahead and you like add some styles and you maybe add some tests. And in the meantime, there are other developers doing things, right? And so they may have gone and updated some text, right? So now we're in this problem, like we have these two versions of the code, and then how do we reconcile them? And really that's like what Git is all about, is figuring that out. So we reconcile them back by creating a merge and merging that branch back in. And then at the bottom, we can see this ultimately is what the history looks like, so that it looks like a continuous stream of history, even though you had multiple engineers making changes in the same thing, right? Cool. So yeah, let's jump into some of these commands. So first thing is checkout, which is about branching. So if we're going to get checkout cool feature would be the name of the branch. And this would mean that you want to move to a branch named cool feature. But what happens if cool feature does not exist and you need to create it? You'd use the -b command in order to create the new branch, right? Cool thing about branching is that if you go and branch off of main, you can like make a whole bunch of changes on a feature branch, and it's not going to screw anything up except for your feature branch, right? So you can kind of like separate and isolate your changes. All right. So next thing is staging changes. And this has always conceptually been difficult for me to process, I guess. But you can use git add in order to stage changes. And I guess the reason why this exists is that you may want to you may make a bunch of changes, but you want to have separate commits for each of the changes or for groups of those changes. So you can use git add in order to put the changes into staging so that you can make a commit specific to those. You can use git add dot to refer to everything, and that would add everything to be staged, right? So in this example here on the left, we have git add and then the name of a single file. So that'll make it so that only the things from /button.js are staged. And then, whoop, and then git add -a would stage all of them. And then git add dot would stage everything that's like in your current current working directory, I think. I think that's the difference, but don't quote me on that. Maybe Google before me. Cool. So git commit. So this takes all of the stage changes, so everything that you would get added, and it commits them to a branch. Or it commits them to Git. And so this creates a saved record of the change, so that later you can go back and say, like, see that actual change. And you can see it with a message explaining like why you made the change, right? So you can add a message with the -m, which is just like an inline message. -a stages any track files to the commit, and AM is a nice shorthand to be able to like do both of those together. So on the left, we can see some examples. If you wanted a commit, you commit and have a message that's update heading text. That is the example doing that. And then below, if you want to stage and add the text at the same time, because you just need to save much time, you'd use -am. Yeah, okay. And yeah, that's majority here. One thing with regards to the messages, and we have a whole later learning module about communication, like developer communication. But one thing that's really good with your message is to focus really heavily on like the why of the change as opposed to the what that you're doing. Yeah. So you got your stuff staged, committed, got a message, and then now you need to push it up to the origin, and you'd use git push for that. They give this git push -u origin cool feature. I'll let you in on a little secret, which is that I don't know that command. What happens is I consistently go and I git push, and the branch does not exist on the remote, and Git, it will say, hey, there's no branch. Do you want this command? And so I copy it, and then I paste it, and then I put that there. And I think a good, like maybe 75% of developers do that exact same thing. Very unscientific number there, but just, little secret that most of us don't know what we're doing. Yeah, and then if the branch, oh yeah, Matt's exactly the same. He does it too. So if the branch does already exist, you can just git push up there. And Nicole does too. Yep. All right. So we're maybe my statistic could be pretty good. Okay, git pull is, so you've pushed, and then you need to get the latest changes, let's say from main, or someone else pushed to a branch, and you want to get their changes, and you would use git pull. So for our example here is, let's say you're on a branch that's not main, somebody else had made changes there, you'd want to git checkout main, which will switch over to main, and then you'll git pull in order to get the latest changes. Cool. So pull requests. These are where we're going to be collaborating, looking at changes, making comments about them through code reviews, which is a huge, super important thing in the Collab Lab, as well as just in general as a developer. So this is just what the UI looks like. You'd click on pull requests, and then you'd create a new pull request, right? Merge conflicts, super fun, right? Yeah. So I think a lot of times it's really, really tempting to just get freaked out about these, but they're not that bad. they're really just caused when Git doesn't know how to like what you want to do. Two changes were made at the exact same spot in the same file, and Git needs a little bit of help to know like what am I doing here? So you can help out as a developer by telling Git. One of the most important things with merge requests is communication with the rest of the team. And this is the big thing, like why one of the big reasons why we're here is learning how to communicate and work as a team. But if you don't know, or you're not sure, or you're like 90% sure, then you should just chat with the team and see if anyone has any idea. And there's a helpful guide here, which afterwards I'll go ahead and post the links I'll post the link to this actual slideshow, so you can go and get the go ahead and take a look at the guide if you'd like to. Yeah, and then also just in terms of communication, like be super loud. If you don't know, mentors are here to help, as is the rest of your team. I clicked on the thing. Okay, so this is the guide. It's awesome. Hang on. Merge requests. Okay. So there are some additional resources that we have here. Urge you to check them out if you have some time. And again, I'll post this in our Slack channel. And let's see, I think that's about, I think the next one is like a cool, thanks for watching. Hang on. Yeah. Okay, so why is this thing not going to the next one? You can trust me that the next slide, it's not that interesting. It's just cool. Thanks for watching. We have just very quickly, I thought that it could be fun to do a collaborative session where you all help me to make a change, because I found that in our repo, everybody else had added a link to their profile, but I did not. So I'm going to go ahead and make that change, and then I'm going to need your help to do that with Git. So actually, before I make the change, what's the first thing that I should do? I'm on the main branch, and I have pulled. What do I do? Yeah, check out a feature branch. Cool. So, so I do git checkout, then what? What do we want to name it? Any ideas? We'll just call this demo. We'll call it
Add
demo.
link.
Huh? Add link.
Add
Yeah.
link.
Cool. And what command do I use to make sure that I'm creating the branch?
Git
Dash B.
Dash B. Nice. So, dash B, add link. We'll even go more like to Mike's Git Hub. Cool. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and make the changes here real quickly. Gotta go get my profile quickly. Spaces are all in the way. All right. Now I've got these. What do I do to stage the changes?
Git add.
Cool. And then let's try out this git add dash a. Hey, cool. And little pro tip, if you use VS Code, this thing is real helpful over here. And that's where I do all advanced stuff. If I ever need to like be like, oh, undo the last like 3 commits or blah, 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 I do that up here using the commit stuff. But for the sake of this demo. Not going to do it. So now I want to commit and add a message. What am I doing?
Git commit -m.
Commit -m, and we'll say adding link to profile because everyone else did it. Or no, I'll say because, or to help people find Mike and his work. Yay. Cool.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Can you explain again what the -a exactly means versus like using just dot or just using the file name?
I think that -a is going to stage everything.
Okay.
And I think that the dot would stage everything in the present working directory and below, but actually I totally need to Google that.
So no, the dot indicates the working tree that you're currently in. -a is going to do absolutely everything. And then when you hit commit without -a, it's only going to do the things that are staged. -a is going to grab any changes. It makes you
And
do
by
it like 2 steps in one.
current
Okay.
working tree, what do you mean? With the
Like whatever
dot?
branch you're in. Because if you made changes across 2, you might stage the changes in one branch, but not another branch. Like, oh, I'm trying to figure this part out, but I know that I can add this link here. If I -8 it, I'm going to do both changes in both separate branches. I don't really want to do that. I want to leave this to figure out, and I know that my GitHub link is not going to change. I'm working in 2
Oh.
branches at once. They will do all your changes and not at like things that aren't staged yet.
Ah. Cool.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah.
That's the only GitHub thing I know because I've screwed it up.
And thanks for asking that question.
Yeah.
Really great one. Cool. Okay, so now what's the next thing I do? Got him committed. I need to get them up to the remote. Got to push. All right. And now we're going to use the pro tip, which is you git push, and then you copy this command, and then you push it. Yay, look at that. Okay, cool. So now it's in here, and I'm just real quickly going to go back, and then I'm going to create a new pull request. And I want to compare this one into main, right? And then I can create the pull requests. And a thing, we have these like really nice looking pull request stuff. So don't do what I'm about to do, which is just like overwriting all of it, right? But adding link to profile for demo. Okay, then I create the pull request. And cool, now I've created one, and then people can go ahead and review it, and then I would merge the pull requests, right? And I'll merge it in a little bit after yeah, we want to. But yeah, that's it for Git stuff. Any additional questions? Okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. So I think next up, we are going to go through the issues for the upcoming week. So for that, I'm going to hand it off to Matt.
Well, thank you. Let's see. So I am operating off my personal computer, which I rarely use, and it's not hooked up to my second screen, so bear with me. Yeah, the only thing I was going to add to that, and I definitely agree with Mike for not going down Git rabbit holes. One more that I find very useful is Git Stash. I'm definitely happy to help anyone with that. It allows you to essentially stash your work while you switch to another branch, and then you can get it back when you switch back to your feature branch. It took me a long time to discover that. Yeah, I found that very helpful. Let's see. Sorry, I was trying to share my screen, basically is what I'm trying to do. Or actually, will it let me since I'm not the host?
I want to
I should
say
be able
that
to give you permissions. You should just like share my screen and then the meeting host should be like, check mark, yes, you can.
Oh, okay.
oh, cool.
Hey.
There we go. All right, sorry about that. All right, so I think I'm gonna hook my laptop up to my screen for the next time. Okay, so this should be showing the project board. Is that what everyone's seeing? Just let me know.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna walk through these first two issues. So essentially every week we will take two of these issues here and we'll walk through them, we'll move them into the in progress section. And so two people will tackle one, two people will tackle the other. And then for the following weeks, we'll kind of switch so everyone gets to work together. And so, Mike, Nicole, if you have different strategies, let me know. But I think what we've done previously is I'll read through them. And so everyone can get an understanding of what's kind of required. And then if people want to volunteer for certain ones, if you're kind of like drawn to that one.
Yeah, people are already paired up.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Like it's automatically done. So find your pair. It's in, I think, README or contributors in the repo. And that's the person that you're coordinating with on your issue this week. So each pair is going to choose an issue.
Okay.
I don't know. Sorry.
Cool. But they haven't been assigned yet.
No, they are, the pairs are already assigned. They're assigned at the beginning. And they switch off every week. So you're paired with somebody one week and then somebody else the next week and then the third person the week after. So you're switching up who you're working with. Similarly, if you're working on one, like say you're working on the shopping list item this week, you might work on like a different feature the next week. So you get experience with different people and like different styles of co-working or pair programming and all the different issues. So that when we get to the interview process, which I'm assuming most of you are gunning for in the next few months, you get experience and practice with it and you really know the product that you're demoing. I do have to find them though.
Cool. Right, so I'll read through this first one. So the very first issue, and we generally start these first two off a little on the lighter side, just kind of get you going. So the first one is, as a user, I want to read the names of all of the items in my shopping list. And so in each issue here, you're going to have a summary, acceptance criteria, and then the notes. A key thing, I think it was brought up during the orientation, is that you want to stay as strictly to the acceptance criteria or AC as possible. It can be very tempting to go above that, but for a number of reasons. For one, some of the things you might want to do will be in a future sprint or for a future issue. So you want to kind of stick to this. And then also, we're very sensitive to your time. So we want to make sure you don't go above the 5 hours a week that was mentioned. And so that's another reason why it's good to stick to the criteria. So the first one here, the summary is basically the most important feature of the app is the ability to look at what's on the list so the user knows what they need to buy. The list component is the best place in our code to do that. And in fact, this feature is already partially implemented. And if you refer to the acceptance criteria in the existing code to understand the work that remains. So the list component is rendered on the list page. And because the navigation links are currently broken, you have to type that path into your browser's address bar. And so the acceptance criteria for this one, oh, I guess that's what I meant. Two of them looks like they're done. So one, the stream list items function is used in that JSX to get the items in the current list from the Firestore database, and then the list is passed into the component as prop name data. And so for this one, basically in that JSX file, the list item component is used to render the name of each item. So this is the task for this issue. I don't have the project open in my IDE in my editor at the moment, but if you have it, you'll be able to see this file. I can open that up in a second. And so the notes for this one is your only goal is to make sure the names of the items render as expected. You might be tempted to modify the list to show more information. Again, you'll do that later. So that's where we want to stick as much of the criteria as possible, so we don't begin any type of scope creep. But if you do want to peek at the feature, there's a wireframe here, which shows what your list could look like closer to the end of the project. And the data you need is already being passed into the list component. So that's the first one. Let's see. And then for the second one, as a user, I want to be able to navigate to all the pages in the application by clicking the links in the nav bar. And so this will essentially be setting up the nav so that you can click around your project. So the summary, users need to be able to navigate between the pages of the app in order to access all of its features. And there's a navigation bar in the layout component, but it's not feature complete just yet. So the links in the element don't actually allow the users to navigate from page to page. So similarly, a few of these have already been done. So the AC for this one is to ensure that the links all function as expected using the React router DOM. And so there's official links for the nav link component here. And then you have a link or the note regarding the anchor element. And so probably the best way to help this make the most sense is I will open, oops, sorry, the actual project page. And so as Mike mentioned in his presentation, this is our actual repo that's on GitHub. And so when you pulled everything down to do your first commit, you should have all this on your computer. And so I believe, feel free to correct me, I believe this is where, here we go. So for the first one, this is the list JSX file. And then sorry. So here's where the various files are in the code base. Okay. All right, so I don't think I've done the greatest job of kind of explaining all those, but based on what you've read, does any pair have a preference of which one they would like to sign up for? So again, so the first one is putting the names of all the items in the shopping list, or taking the names from the data that's coming back in list.jx and using the list items to render them. And then the second one would be setting up the nav with React router DOM.
I have no preference. My partner can choose if they want.
Isaiah, that leaves it up to you.
I have no preference either, but I can take one more. I'm down to take one if the other team doesn't care.
Anybody have anything?
Cool. Okay. Let's see. So I'll assign these to you through the issue. So let's see. So that was Isaiah. I'm selecting the right people. There's a lot in here. And Shannon. Cool. I'll move that to in progress. And then for the second one, which was the setting up the nav, that will be Patty. Is it Patty Rose?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
me.
And, okay. Is Lydia Dunning? Okay. All right. So those are both in progress now. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Any questions on those in particular? On those different issues?
Some like quick notes on the process of doing this. So you're gonna pair program, you're gonna find some time in the next day or two, ideally, because we're gonna have office hours. We're gonna find a time for office hours. If you're having any problems with your issue, and by if you're having any problems, I mean, if it's taking you more than 20 minutes, and actually 20 minutes, ping a mentor. Ping all of us actually, because we're here because we want to help. I know that like when I did this, I was really scared to bother people. And I like preemptively like came in with everything done when I went into my pair programming. Come with nothing done and do it together. You're going to create a PR and then you're going to ask for peer review. So you're going to ping the other two, like the other pair. You'll each have a pair programming thread in our Slack. Try to use it to communicate so that the communication is in public. If you start a new thread, Andrew Hedges, who runs Collab Lab or who's coordinating everything, gets pinged. So try to keep it in your pair programming thread so we don't overwhelm him completely. But yeah, ping the other people for peer review once you think it's done. Regardless, come to office hours, even if it's really easy. This week is going to be really easy. And it's deliberately set up so that next week, when you go to the next issue, it's going to be a conflict because you're working on the same thing. It has to be a conflict. Like, yeah, I don't think you can do it without there being a conflict. So on that note, office hours are typically at the same time every single week. We try to do them in the first half of the week because that gives time to come in and be like, you're not going to have a problem this week, probably. But week 3, week 4, and something's not working, and Firestore is being a butthead, which Firestore is often a butthead. You might want to come to office hours and ask some questions. So if we make it at the beginning of the week, you can come in with your, we got this far, I'm stuck here, this is where it's being a butthead, I don't understand why. One or all the mentors can sit down, we can go through it together, we can talk about whatever. And then you can go back and make your changes and request for your reviews. The review process is peer review. Once it's past your peer review, try to leave comments. Then it goes to mentor review. The thing about the comments and the review is you're not gonna really need it for the first few weeks. But again, I know that all 4 of you are probably going to be looking for jobs in the next few months. Your job interviews, if they're looking at your GitHub, are going to see this. So you want your like comments to look great. And you want like, I've peer reviewed, I've done code review. I know this. It's the same thing. You're going to next week, our meeting, our weekly sync at the exact same time next week is going to open with demos. I messed this up when I did the first time around. I didn't demo because I am shy and I am unsure of myself. And so when it came to doing interviews where I'm presenting products that I've designed, by the way, I hired developers and like headed the team for them. I didn't have the experience demoing my products to be able to demo it in an interview. Do it now, make your screw ups now, volunteer to do it, make your code review, you know what I mean? Like that way there you have a comprehensive body of work to which you can say like, yeah, I've done this and it's not a big deal. So on that note, is there a time we can all agree on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I can send a doodle, but I wanted to talk in person and like sort of explain like, why are we doing it in these days rather than a Friday or, Saturday, Sunday, it is 1 hour of your time. I think Shannon's the only one in Eastern time zone. So if we can do that now, great. If we're not, I'll send a doodle. And if you come either way, it's not particularly me, but the other mentors that I've worked with are freaking brilliant. So like office hours that I went to that I didn't have a conflict with, I always learned something. I actually learned something that got me the position I have right now. Come either way. Doodle, or do we want to do it right now? What do we think? Me preference?
Could do
I'll
it
do-
now.
I'll do whatever is easiest. Like now is fine. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm in New York, y'all.
No, don't be sorry. It's just good to know because that means that you're 3 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
I assume we don't want to do anything 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, but other than that, I know a lot of us are flexible. What's Tuesday night or Wednesday night for everybody? That's 3 days and then 4 after.
I can make time at night. Like I'll just make time for this. Like I'm looking for a job, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's got a life. I get it. But I whatever, dude, I'm here. I will commit to whatever works, and nighttime is probably going to be best because I'm all the way over here. You know what I mean?
If you're looking for a job, this is about to rock your world.
Yeah,
And
dude.
Career Lab
Thank you.
after.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh, Career Lab.
100%. I'm
Sign
already
up.
there.
Sign
I am
up. It's
already
so
in
good.
the 2-week
It's so
career
good.
thing.
Collab Lab is incredible and everything else. I adore it.
I'm super stoked to be here. So I'm
too.
willing to work with anybody at whatever time. Like if it could be after 5 o'clock during the week at New York time, 5 o'clock, I'm cool. I will make it happen. It doesn't matter. I'll do what I gotta do.
Collab Lab took me from thinking I could never do anything because I worked with prostitutes through to running a software company of like 3 engineers. And then now additionally working for a combinator. which is
I'm so
wild.
proud of you. Right?
I'm so proud of this program. I want to be
Yeah.
here. I love being here. That's why I'm like, take advantage, ask the mentors. I'm not gonna know, but they will know. Like, yeah.
So I'm open, guys. I'll work around whatever we have to work around.
If we
to
do
make this happen.
Wednesday
I
at
recognize
5
it.
PST, that makes it Wednesday at 8 Eastern. I'm looking at Mike and Matt because I'm doing this office hours and I'm happy to do whatever office hours, but I know you guys are brilliant and I want you there. And what do we think?
I could
I
do
think-
that.
Well, Patty Rose has issues on Wednesdays, so
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I
which
was
to-
typing in the chat.
Sorry, I
Okay.
didn't even look. I just got excited because I was
fun.
like, oh my God, let me tell you how cool Collab Lab is. I'm so obsessed. We can do Thursday
Tuesday?
evenings. Thursday evenings is like 4 days and then 3 days to fix something. So you'd have to like make sure that you had working time on the Friday and the Saturday is all. Again, like working time, when they say 3 hours, they actually mean 3 hours. When I did it the first time through, I pre-wrote all my code. And then when I came to pair programming, I'm like, okay, let's figure, how are we gonna do this? Oh, what if we had this really smart solution that I already have written out because I spent 2 hours before this preparing because I'm super nervous. So I like robbed myself of that pair programming experience. And then last time around when I was mentoring, we had somebody who would spend hours on this, which meant that it's not their fault, it's our program's fault. If you don't tell us, and if you don't keep it to those hours, then that happens to somebody else. And like we have an ongoing issue that extends past you. So we need to make sure the timing really, really works for you. If Thursday evening is best, I'm okay with that too. Lydia, Isaiah, what about you guys?
I could do that.
Okay, Lydia?
I think if we can do it earlier in the week, that would be better.
Earlier, but what
so
about
that we
the
have-
mornings? Because if Patty, you're available in the morning,
Like it would depend on when, because if it's before work, or before
When does
people
your
go to
work
work
start?
who aren't me, I can't do it because at least most
yeah,
of the
no,
time.
that's fair.
Mhm.
When does your work start? Could you?
Like I could start sometime after like 10, but not really earlier.
AM or PM? Sorry.
We could try a doodle.
Let's do it. Maybe Thursday, maybe early in the morning.
but yeah,
When's
let's
it?
Breaks.
I'm kind of confused at what the meeting is. It's office hours.
It's office hours. So you bring the issue from the week. This week, you will probably, actually, that's a lie because I didn't know. So I didn't get it, but everybody else in my cohort knew what they were doing the first week. I did not. You'll probably get this week without needing the office hours. So it's just an opportunity to sit, talk code, talk about what's coming up. You can also, something that I did that I found really, really useful was I bothered my mentor to help me do practice interviews and interview questions, which like if you've never looked at them before are really intimidating. But yeah, it's basically
So it's like drop-in hours.
drop-in hours,
to
not
ask for support.
mandatory. Ask questions, look for support, share something else. I learned about deduplication in office hours. I do a lot of accessibility stuff. So if you've never done accessibility, it's huge right now. You're about to see even more of it as all the new Google changes unroll next year and the Apple OS stuff. So if you want to talk about that, I'm happy to. Or if you're wanting to talk about starting your own software, if you're not necessarily the being employed by a company type, I'm happy to do that. Or starting your own software as a newbie who doesn't know anything about software is really what I did.
So
I think I can rearrange and make Wednesday evening work if everyone was super on board with that.
I chose it just because it's like 3 days and then 4 days on the other end. I don't have any preference.
I gotta log off now though, so if Wednesday
we'll send a
evenings
doodle.
works for me. Thank
Doodle,
you.
okay.
It was nice to meet
Good to see
everyone.
you. Take care.
Cool.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you all so much. This was great. And have a yeah, we'll see you all online. Be loud on Slack.
Okay.
And yeah, see you soon.
awesome. Bye guys.
Thank you.